Hello everyone, this is Andrew from National Geographic Learning. I'm making this video because today we did a webinar about Keynote, which we'll talk about in a second. But when we did that webinar, I made a mistake and I forgot to hit the record button to record the entire session. Now, I did realize that partway through and pressed record, and we have some of the session recorded, but we missed the first 15 to 20 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do now is basically re-record the beginning of that session for you so you can see the parts that I didn't record because I'm an idiot. Okay, so let's go back in as if I was going through the webinar. Now this will just be a video, you and me. I've got no audience here. It's just me going through this, but let's take a look at what we were going over. So let me share the screen to get started here. So this is the beginning of the presentation we did. So we're in the Experience It, Learn It, Use It webinars, where we're really looking at modeling online lessons with National Geographic Learning. And what we're looking at today is this particular topic, Secrets and Lies from Keynote. Okay, so let's find out a little bit more about Keynote before we get started. So what is Keynote? Keynote is a 6-level adult program. It's designed for maybe university students, maybe high school students. I know a few high school students that use this program. The CEFR levels, the Common European Framework levels, go from A1+, so a little bit above beginner, okay, maybe advanced beginner, running through to C2. So it covers a very wide range of abilities, depending on which book you are looking at or using, okay? It's really focused on real-world, authentic topics and building on those 21st century skills like critical thinking, communication skills, things like this, okay? And one of the unique features of this program is it uses a lot of TED Talk models. So there are many videos in the Keynote program. A lot of them are TED Talk videos broken up into little pieces so that we can explore what the speaker is saying. We can use them as listening tasks. We can use them to understand the topic, as well as pick out grammar points, vocabulary, and these kinds of things. And the reason we use TED Talk models for this one is TED provides a stage for both first language users of English and second language users of English. And that way students who are seeing these TED Talk examples get to see great models of people just communicating in English, okay? Now, as well as the students seeing those things, they get to practice the presentation skills that a TED type speaker would use, right? And so within the program, there is a syllabus to help the students practice, develop, and get better with their general presentation skills in English, okay? Great. So let's take a look at what we're actually looking at today. It's going to be Secrets and Lies, which comes from level 4, which means it's around the B2 level, upper intermediate level. So let me jump to that now by switching screens again. And I'm going to the classroom presentation tool. And so here we can see, just quickly before we get started, here we can see the different parts of the level. We've got 3 topics and then a presentation section. This is where the students learn presentation skills. Then 3 units and presentation skills, and then same for the second half of the book as well. Okay, so today we're looking at Secrets and Lies. Okay, so if I open this one up so we can get started. Now I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit to the top of the first page here. So here we go, Secrets and Lies. So when you look at this topic, Secrets and Lies, what do you think about it? Do you think secrets and lies are bad? Are they bad? Is it okay? Are lies okay if you don't get caught, maybe? So we can talk with our students a little bit about what they think about these kinds of words, okay? And then from the topic, Secrets and Lies, does this sound like a bad topic, a good topic? Is it interesting to you? Do you want to find out more about it? We can see what people think about this as well, okay? Now, there's a quote on the first page here from this particular presenter who we'll meet shortly, where she says, "Trained lie spotters get to the truth 90% of the time. The rest of us, we're only 54% accurate." So here it uses this word, lie spotters. What is a lie spotter? What do they do, right? And so in the webinar today, people were saying, well, a lie spotter is someone who looks for lies. They are able to identify lies. They can tell if someone is probably lying or not, okay? And then we talked a little bit about why would someone want to be a lie spotter, or maybe who hires lie spotters? Do they have a purpose? And so a lot of people today thought maybe the police might use lie spotters, the FBI or those kind of criminal investigation agencies would have a lie spotter so that they can tell if a suspect or someone they're interviewing is lying, right? We also talked about a couple of other types of groups that might hire lie spotters. So maybe human resources, people doing job interviews want to know when people are lying, if they're lying in an interview, okay? And so that might be another reason. Another one could be salespeople, right? How do we spot when a salesperson is lying or telling the truth, right? And it could also be that a lie spotter is there to help people know when they're giving off signals that maybe they're lying, even if they aren't actually lying. There are some traits that we will see at the end of the webinar where we can see, okay, so liars typically behave this way. And so you may not know that you're giving off these signals when you're telling the truth as well, okay? So maybe lie spotters can have a lot of different functions or uses, okay? So let's go down a little bit more. What are we going to learn in this one? So here we can see unit goals. In this unit, we will talk about types of lies. We will read about situations where lying may be good, and we will watch a TED talk about how to spot a liar, okay? So again, based on this, we were talking today about, do we find this interesting? Why read about situations where lying may be good? Lying can be good. What do you think about that? Okay. Okay, so in the beginning here, we've got the warm-up. This is to introduce everyone to the topic. So here we have a TED video or a snippet, a short piece of a TED video. We can take a look at this and we can see what the presenter here, Pamela Meyer, is saying about lying, okay? So let's take a quick look at this and see what we think. What do you think about this as well? Okay, let's take a look at the video here. Now I may need to share computer sound. Let me just do that really quickly, just to make sure I've got it. There we go. Okay, let's try that again.
Okay, now I don't want to alarm anybody in this room, but it's just come to my attention that the person to your right is a liar. Also, the person to your left is a liar. Also, the person sitting in your very seats is a liar. We're all liars. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what the research says about why we're all liars, how you can become a lie spotter, and why you might want to go the extra mile and go from lie spotting to truth seeking, and ultimately to trust building.
Okay, well, that was interesting, right? What did we hear in that? We could talk about what we heard, and then we've got a couple of questions on the page here, right? So the first one says here, would you describe yourself as a liar? Okay, and so in the webinar today, we did a poll about this, and more than half of people said, no, I'm not a liar. And my response was, so when you're saying you're not a liar, are you lying? Because Pamela says that we're all liars, right? Interesting, right? Okay, and then the second question here is, do you think it's important to be completely honest in a relationship? Okay, and a few people today looked at this word and said completely honest. Well, do sometimes we lie in a way that we're not really trying to hurt somebody, but we might just not quite tell the truth, even with our partner, our husband, our wife, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, right? So we talked a little bit about that today, but a lot of people think it's fairly important, but maybe not 100%. So these are kind of questions we can get the students to think about the topic, start discussing a few of these ideas together, okay? Great. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to go to the next page, okay? And we'll zoom back in again. Okay, so here is another, here's another way to detect lies. This is a polygraph, right? A polygraph is a lie detector, a machine that measures the signals coming off a person and tries to figure out if they're lying or not, okay? So you may have seen these before, right? But to start this one out, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some vocabulary. In this case, it's collocations with truth and lie. What are some words or phrases we use with the words truth and lie? Now, there's an activity here, but before we do that activity, maybe we need to check, do we understand all the vocabulary? So I'm going to switch screens here again. I'm going to jump over to a different screen, and we can go over some ideas about truths and lies, right? So here we have a truth, right? I think we know what a truth is, right? A truth is when, yes, the things we say are correct, the things we say are right, okay? They agree, okay? But when we tell a lie, then obviously it's not, okay? So everybody probably knows those words, okay? Now here we have a few phrases, okay? And the first one is an element of truth, right? If I say something has an element of truth, what do I mean? So most people today in the webinar, maybe you know this one as well, most people knew what this meant, but we just talked a little bit about this piece here, an element of truth. What does an element mean? What is an element? And so some people said, well, an element is part of a group, right? So in math, if you have a set, then you could have some numbers, right? So for example, 1, 2, 4, and an element is one of the numbers in that set, for example, okay? If you do chemistry, then we have maybe this represents water, right? And it is made up of 2 elements. It is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Those are the elements we have in chemistry, okay? So when we're talking about elements, we're talking about parts of, okay? Here's a picture of the flag of New Zealand. I'm from New Zealand, and I can say some of the elements of that flag. I can say we've got this piece at the top here, it's called the Union Jack, and then we've got some stars. Those are elements of the flag. Oh, excuse me. Okay, carrying on. So if we're talking about an element of truth, what do we mean by that? Well, let's say this represents my story, the story I'm trying to tell somebody, okay? If there is an element of truth, that means there is part of it that is true, but there is also part of it, maybe a big part, that's also false, okay? So it's not 100%, right? An element just means there is a true bit, but the rest of it is not true, okay? Okay, now let's look at the second one, the absolute truth. If you had to give a percentage for absolute, what would you say? And everybody would say, yeah, that's 100%. 100% means the same as absolute, all of it, right? So that means if this represents my story that I'm trying to tell, then it is all true. There is only true stuff here. There is no false bits, okay? That would be the absolute truth. Okay, now what about the next one? A white lie. A white lie. Okay, so what is a white lie? So again, most people today knew this phrase from somewhere else. So a white lie, well, first, it's a lie. Okay, if this is the story I'm trying to tell, it is entirely false. There is nothing that is true here. Everything is false in a white lie. But what does it mean to say a white lie? Okay, so this kind of is it's a cultural point where we talk about how people use colors to represent ideas. Okay, you may know that a white lie is a lie told to try to not hurt somebody. Okay, it is told maybe with some kind of good intentions. Okay, you don't want to cause harm. And that's because in Western cultures, generally speaking, the color of white is associated with innocence. Okay, it's associated with peace, things like that. Those are the kinds of ideas that go with the color white in a Western culture. But if you look at the color black, for example, well, black is usually considered more of an evil color, more of a bad color, right? It's not a nice color. So if you told a black lie, then that must be a really bad one with bad intentions, right? Now, a black lie is not really a phrase we use, but a white lie is a phrase you will hear a lot, okay? Just another example of a different color. What about red? What does red associate with in a Western culture? Well, actually red sometimes is associated with blood, okay, or anger, or sometimes the devil, right? Demons, things like that might be considered going along with red. Could we talk about a red lie? Actually, I've never heard that before. Maybe we could. But then we'd be associating different colors to give us an idea about what's the badness of this lie, okay? But yeah, a white lie is a lie, it's false, okay? Now, what about a total lie? Well, again, total goes with the idea of 100%, right? So a total lie is completely false as well, okay? Now, the last one here is to stretch the truth, to stretch the truth. So what does it mean to stretch the truth, okay? Well, here I have an example because a type of person who often stretches the truth is a fisherman, okay? They go out and they catch a fish, right? And so here's a picture representing the fish they caught. But then when they tell their story, sometimes they say, well, the fish was this big. And somehow as they tell the story, the fish gets bigger. So as you stretch the truth, the fish is getting longer and longer and longer, right? Is this really the truth? Well, it's still a fish, right? It's looking a little less like a fish, but this was the real fish. And now you're saying it's this big, okay? So when you stretch the truth, then that means part of this is true. There's a fish, right? But part of it is false. It's not really that big, okay? For example, okay? So when you stretch the truth, it's partly true, but you're exaggerating, right? Could be one way of doing it, okay? And so we said in the webinar today, we said, what are some examples of people who stretch the truth? And a lot of people instantly said maybe politicians or salespeople are the kinds of people who stretch the truth. They tell you more than maybe what it really is, okay? Okay, so now that we've looked at ideas, let's go back. I will go back to where I was before on the Keynote materials. And we have a little activity here to go through and decide for each of these phrases, are they completely untrue, somewhat true, or completely true? So I think now that we've looked at those and talked about those, I think we can do this pretty quickly. So with our students, we could say, okay, an element of truth, which one is it? And most people will say, it's a little bit true, a little bit false, right? One part is true, the rest is false, somewhat true, okay? The absolute truth, okay, completely true, 100%, right? A white lie, now this is the one that confuses people because sometimes they think a white lie has some truth in it, but no, it doesn't. It is completely a lie. It is completely untrue, okay? A total lie, completely untrue. And then stretched the truth, well, it's partly true, but now you're exaggerating, so it's not all true, okay? So then if we check the answers with our students, we can see, okay, that's the answers for that activity. Okay, now the second part down here, if I move down here, match each example below to the descriptions above 1 through 5, okay? Now this one can be a little difficult perhaps, which ones match, okay? So let's open up the activity window here so we can take a look at this one. Which ones match here, okay? So her story had an element of truth, okay? He said that he was at the office, but he was actually at home. Does this have an element? Is there any truth in here? Doesn't look like it, right? He said, I like your new hairstyle because he didn't want her to feel bad. What does that sound like? When you don't want to hurt someone, that sounds like a white lie, right? That one must be number 3, okay? He said, I have 2 Porsches, but one is his and one is his father's. Okay. Which one would that be? Does that have an element of truth? It does, but then someone very smart pointed out this morning, but this is her and this is he. So these two don't match because it's the wrong person. Okay. So I have 2 Porsches. Well, it's not all true, right? Maybe it's this one. He stretched the truth. So let's try number 5 there. Okay. So what about this one? He said he was at the office, but he was at home. That sounds like just a lie, right? Maybe that's number 4, a total lie. Okay. Let's see, D. It's true that she lives in New York, but every other part of her story is untrue. So one piece is true, but the rest is not true. That sounds like an element of truth. And again, it's she, matches with her. So that seems to make sense, okay? And then the last one, he stretched the truth, what have we got left? No, we've only got the absolute truth left, don't we? The CEO began her speech by saying, I'm the CEO. Well, she's the CEO, that's fine. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so this is one way we can go through this activity, and looking at those details, we can help the students figure out how these things match up with each other. Okay, so if we check those, yes, we got them all right. Okay, great. Now the next activity down here, these are discussion activities. Okay, so here we can work with partners and we can ask and answer these questions. Now that we understand the words, for example, a white lie, which we have right here. Okay, we've got a white lie here, so now we know what that means. And also stretch the truth. Now we know what that means. Let's talk about them and see if we've done them. So this is personalizing the experience. Okay, and actually this is the point when I figured out that actually I hadn't hit the record button. I had people in some breakout rooms and we were trying to discuss. So now, so if you can still hear me, please try to join the rooms with you should have received a join button. Please join the room and chat with the other people in the room. Okay. Okay, so there's three, Dien and Mridawati and one other person still here. So we can just talk amongst ourselves quickly if you want. So have any of you ever told a white lie before? I have. I've told lots because I'm old. I have a lot of experience, so I have told a lot of white lies. I'm just looking down the list here to see what other people are saying here. Did not want to make the person sadder. Yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll close all the rooms. Okay, it's a 60-second delay for people to come back. They have to choose to come back, so we'll just wait for them to come back in. Some people are joining back again now. Okay, we've got most people back. We're just waiting for a few more. I think they're finishing talking. Room 11 has a lot of active people. And room 9 and room 6. Very nice. Okay, 15 seconds or so until everybody's back. Yeah. So Ben, like you say, you don't want to make people angry. So sometimes we tell white lies because of that. That's true, right? Okay, and everybody should be coming back right now. We'll close that one there. Okay, thanks for taking part in that. If you did, if you didn't, I could see some people had trouble joining the rooms. Maybe that's just at your end. Maybe you didn't notice the pop-up box or something. It's okay. It's just an experiment. We try these things out. But in a class with a smaller number of students, this usually works pretty well to assign people into their little rooms and let them have a discussion for a while. Did anyone have a good discussion in their room? Or was it kind of quiet?
No.
Okay,
we
that's okay.
Introduce ourselves. That's it. That was it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have to. Sometimes we have to do these things a little quickly, right? It seems like a couple of people had some chats. That's good. 1 minute is a bit short. That's true. Yeah, but this is a fairly fast-paced kind of lesson, right? This is not exactly how you do it in class because you're going to have more discussion with your students. Okay. Very nice. But anyway, thanks for trying. We won't do that again this time. Any other discussions we'll have, we'll just do them this way. Okay, great. So let me just, I just need to minimize some windows here. I've got too many things on my road. Okay, so let's move forward and take a look at the next page here. Now, let's see. We have another ideal phrase at the top here. Now it says at the top here, it says giving examples. Let me just zoom in on that a little bit more. Giving examples. Here are some commonly used phrases to indicate examples. For example, such as is a case in point, okay? So here we're going to watch a short video by a recruiter. Her name is Erin, and it says here she's talking about her experience with job interview applicants, okay? And it says here, according to her, why do people tend to lie in job interviews? Okay, so let's take a look at what Erin says. And she uses some of these phrases like, for example, or as a case in point, and so on. And I want you to see what she says about lying in job interviews. Here we go.
I'm a recruiter and project manager for an international IT organization with experience in recruitment across the Asia-Pacific region. As part of my day-to-day work, I interview candidates for a variety of roles within my organization. Absolutely. Every candidate wants to present themselves the best way they possibly can to increase their chances of getting a job. But it's my job to identify what the candidates may be hiding that could hurt the organization in the long run.
Okay, so there we go. So I hope you could hear Erin okay there. So let's take a quick look here. It says, why does she say that people tend to lie in job interviews? In the chat box, why did she say people lie? Did you catch what she said? If you didn't, I can play that 10 seconds again, so you can listen to it again. Yeah, so to get the position, yeah, right? So some people lie because they want to get the position. They want to get the job, exactly, right? Okay, now if we move down here a little, now we're gonna watch Erin talk a little bit more about what people do and what they lie about, okay? So there are 6 things here. I want you to listen for them and see what she says. So here we have, do they lie about their age? Do they lie about their reason for leaving a job, their computer skills, their previous salary, their certifications, or their work experience, okay? So which ones does she say they've lied about? Listen for those phrases, okay? Here we go.
One of the most common things candidates lie about is why they left their previous organization or why they want to leave their current company. Sometimes I need to figure out if they're looking to leave because of the company's culture or if they were fired due to poor performance. Most people will lie or stretch the truth a little bit if they think they can get away with it. For example, I've interviewed candidates who claim to be skilled in certain IT systems, but when I questioned them more closely, which maybe they weren't expecting, they couldn't give detailed descriptions about how the systems actually work. Generally, people won't lie about facts that can be easily verified. But once I had a candidate who provided a false certificate on his credentials, and another time, a candidate lied on his resume about the years of experience he had working in different companies. Needless to say,
you didn't get
he
the
didn't
job.
get
Very
the job.
nice. Okay, thank you, Erin. Okay, so let's go to the activity screen here. Let's take a look. So what did Erin say people have lied about? So age, yes or no? Reason for leaving the job, yes or no? So reason, we think reason, okay. Qualifications, which one would that be? Which one would qualifications be? So reason for leaving a job, computer skills, okay. Some people saying computer skills, work experience, okay. Certificates. Okay, so we agree on those ones, I think. Nobody seems to be saying anything. Let me just clear the annotations there. Okay, let's check the answers and let's see if we got it right. Yeah, exactly, right? So she did mention those things. Do you know people, though, who maybe would lie about their age? Why would someone lie about their age? to get a job? Remember, Erin says we want to present ourselves in the best way. Why might someone lie about their age? Why do you think? Why might someone do that? It's easy to find out their age. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe, yeah, so they may be considered more active. Maybe there's an age limit in the company to get the job, yeah. I know some jobs, for example, I know some schools that have, that they're not allowed to have the policy, but really they kind of do, where they say if you are over a certain age, you're not allowed to teach there, right? Because they want maybe younger teachers, right? That's one example, right? Okay, so that could be one, age bias. Now, why would someone maybe lie about their previous salary? Why might someone lie about that? Why might someone lie about their previous salary? Yeah, Kirsty, very good. Because, yeah, to get a higher offer, right? So maybe I've been making, in whatever dollars we're talking about, I've been making $50,000, but I say, actually, I've been making 57. I stretch the truth, right? Because then I know maybe the company will think they can't offer me a lower number and have me accept the job if they really want me, right? So it could be a negotiation tool, right? Yeah, exactly. Cool, exactly. So you know the reasons. Very good. Okay, very cool. Okay, now we have a couple of more discussion questions down here. So we're going to do this one just really quickly by poll. Let me pull up the poll for this one, launch polling. Okay, so do you think it's important to be completely honest in a job interview? And the next one is not on this one, but I want to know it anyway. On a scale of 0 to 100, how much do you think that you should tell the truth to your workmates? Okay, so have a go at those two questions. I know the second one is a little bit different. Let's see what we think. Okay, very good. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's end the polling there. Let's share the results and see what we think. So it's according to this, share results, here we go. According to this, we're kind of split on whether or not we think we should be completely honest in a job interview. There's a slight majority says yes, but a lot of people say maybe and some people say no, right? Okay, maybe it's because, you know, we want to try and chase that job, right? So yeah, okay. When we're not being completely honest, I guess the question is, are we telling a lie or are we just leaving out truths that we don't want them to know, right? Because both of those are not being completely honest. But I think some of us might leave out things that we don't want to share, right? So we don't share things that maybe look bad, right? Okay. Yeah, some people tell white lies, Lucian. Yeah, very true. Okay, now the next one says on a scale 0 to 10, 0 to 100, how much do we think we should tell the truth? Interesting that most people think like 70, 80, 90%, right? We think that maybe we shouldn't always tell the truth to our workmates. Maybe sometimes, you know, it's okay to not be truthful. Okay, that's interesting. So I'll stop sharing results. I'm not going to go through this as a teaching point, but I just want to show you a couple of images from within this unit about that point. Let me just clear this quickly. Here we go. Let's move forward here. Okay. Here, these are some interesting numbers. People on social media, but 10% of people lie in order to make themselves appear more fashionable or attractive. Maybe you do that with your workmates, right? So this is an interesting one though. 16% of young adults actually believe their own lies after they tell them, right? False memories, okay? That's kind of interesting, right? Yeah. So actually a lot of us do lie, but sometimes we don't feel that we're lying. We think we're telling the truth, right? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to move forward. I'm going to jump forward here. There's a lot more in here. There's a reading. There's a lot of discussion about lying and why we do it. But I want to spend the last few minutes here looking at how to spot a liar, which is the TED Talk here from Pamela, okay? So she's talking about, she works for a social networking company and she researches this idea about lie spotting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to look down here. Okay, but before we do the viewing, we're going to try and predict what some of the answers are here. So you can use your annotation tool again. Let's go through paragraph A. I'll just make it a little bigger. Paragraph A here says, guess the answers. Meyer says that everyone lies or most people lie. And we lie because we want to protect ourselves or be better people. Okay, so go through and annotate which one you think is right. Okay, and see what you think here. Okay, what do you think on this one? I'll just give you another 10 seconds or so. We've got about 10 minutes time left, and we want to watch a little bit of the video here and see what we've got. Okay, we've got a mix of answers here. Okay, we've got a mix of answers. Okay, so let me clear those. Let's see. Clear. There we go. Let's see what she actually says. Okay, let's take a look at the video here and see what Pamela actually says. Okay. Oh, sorry. I need to go up to the video, don't I? Where are we? Ah, video. Excuse me. It's here. I lost the video. Here we go.
Okay, now I don't want to alarm anybody in this room, but it's just come to my attention that the person to your right is a liar. Also, the person to your left is a liar. Also, the person sitting in your very seats is a liar. We're all liars. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what the research says about why we're all liars, how you can become a lie spotter, and why you might want to go the extra mile and go from lie spotting to truth seeking, and ultimately to trust building. And we all kind of hate to admit it. You know, we kind of wish we were better husbands, better wives, smarter, more powerful, taller, richer, the list goes on. Lying is an attempt to bridge that gap, to connect our wishes and our fantasies about who we wish we were, how we wish we could be, with what we're really like. And boy, are we willing to fill in those gaps in our lives with lies. On a given day, studies show that you may be lied to anywhere from 10 to 200 times. Now, granted, many of those are white lies. But in another study, it showed that strangers lied 3 times within the first 10 minutes of meeting each other.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to pause it there. Let's see which ones did we get for activity A here. Let's take a look. So she says that everyone lies or most people lie. Which one? Everyone lies or most people lie? Which one should we choose here? Everyone lies. Okay, good one. Everyone lies. We lie because we want to protect ourselves or be better people. Yeah, because we want to be better people. Okay. We usually lie 3 times within the first 10 minutes of meeting a stranger. Okay, very good. So if we show the answers, yes, we got all those right. Okay, very good. Okay, so get rid of those. Okay, now let's take a look. What do we think will happen for the second part of the video here? Let's see if we can predict these ones. One word goes in one gap. So let's highlight the word that we think goes in the first gap, and then the other word must go in the second gap. Okay, so we lie more to co-workers than we lie to strangers, or we lie more to strangers than we do to co-workers. Which word goes in the first gap? Is it co-workers or strangers? So you think strangers? Okay, cool. What about the second one? Extroverts, extroverted people, or introverted people? Right? Who lies more? Introverts or extroverts? Okay, we think extroverts. Okay, thank you for the person typing in. That's very nice. That's really helpful. Okay, men or women usually lie more about themselves, and then the other one lies to protect other people. Who lies more? We seem pretty emphatic that there's men there. Okay, right? Okay, and then the next one. Married or unmarried couples lie more to their partners than the other group. Which one do you think? Married couples, we seem to think. Okay. Okay, let's listen to the rest of the video. We were about halfway through it. I'm going to clear the annotations here. Thank you, Will or Kitty. Let's go through to the middle here. Let's see what she says about this one.
Our wishes and our fantasies to 200 times. Now, granted, many of those are white lies. But in another study, it showed that strangers lied 3 times within the first 10 minutes of meeting each other. Now, when we first hear this data, we recoil. We can't believe how prevalent lying is. We're essentially against lying. But if you look more closely, the plot actually thickens. We lie more to strangers than we lie to coworkers. Extroverts lie more than introverts. Men lie 8 times more about themselves than they do other people. Women lie more to protect other people. If you're in an average married couple, you're going to lie to your spouse in 1 out of every 10 interactions. Now, you may think that's bad. If you're unmarried, that number drops to 3.
Wow. Okay, so yes, I think we got all the answers right there. So let's just confirm them all. Let's just go through. So we lie more to strangers, right? Let's just fill this in really quickly. Then to co-workers. I can type fast. Which one was it? Extroverts, right? Lie more than introverts. Okay. Men, I think we got that one, and women. Okay. And the last one was married, right? Lie more than unmarried. I find that really interesting, actually. Married couples lie 10% of the time, 1 every 10, but unmarried couples lie 33% of the time, 1/3, right? Okay, there we go. Show answers. Very nice. Everybody got them right. Good job. Okay. Very nice. Well done, everybody. Okay, let's take one more little piece and then we're going to wrap this up. So let me just zoom out here. Let's go to the next slide here a little bit. I'm interested what you think about this activity at the top of the page here. Okay. Okay. Liars tend to fidget a lot. Liars freeze their upper body. They avoid eye contact. This is how you become a lie spotter, right? So what I'm going to do is we'll predict this one a little bit before we start. I'm going to open up another poll really fast. Okay. And this has these same 5 questions. Now it refers to pictures A and B. So I'm going to try and keep the poll out of the way. Here's the poll. It's coming up on the screen now. Okay, I'm hoping that that is not in the road of the picture, A and B. But please try and go through the poll quickly and decide, what do you think? Do liars fidget a lot or not? Fidget means, you know, they're moving a lot, right? Especially with their hands, perhaps, right? Okay. Liars freeze their upper body. Can you see the poll? Yes, you can. Okay, people are answering. Very nice. Let's quickly go through this and then we're going to watch the video and find out what the answers to these questions are. And then we'll probably wrap things up for today. Okay. Okay, I'll give you another, let's see, we'll make sure we're answering all the questions. Yes, we are. Okay, good. Another 3 seconds, 2, 1, and end. Okay, so let's share the results really fast here. So on the screen, I can see we think liars tend to fidget a lot. Most people think that. Most people tend to think liars freeze their upper body, okay? Most people think liars avoid direct eye contact usually. Most people think B is a genuine smile, and most people think liars' actions do not match their words. Okay, although that one's kind of close. That one's close to 50-50, okay? Now let's take a look at the video. Stop sharing. Let's take a look at the video and see what Pamela tells us about this, okay? Jump the intro a little. Oh, sorry.
The truth not. Trained lie spotters get to the truth 90% of the time. The rest of us were only 54% accurate. Why is it so easy to learn? Well, they're good liars and they're bad liars. They're no real original liars. We all make the same mistakes. We all use the same techniques. Now, this brings us to our next pattern, which is body language. With body language, here's what you got to do. You really got to just throw your assumptions out the door. Let the science temper your knowledge a little bit, because we think liars fidget all the time. Well, guess what? They're known to freeze their upper bodies when they're lying. We think liars won't look in the eyes. Well, guess what? They look you in the eyes a little too much just to compensate for that myth. We think warmth and smiles convey honesty, sincerity, but a trained lie spotter can spot a fake smile a mile away. Can you all spot the fake smile here? You can consciously contract the muscles in your cheeks, but the real smile's in the eyes. The crow's feet of the eyes, they cannot be consciously contracted, especially if you overdid the Botox. Don't overdo the Botox. Nobody will think you're honest. Now we're going to look at the hot spots. Can you tell what's happening in a conversation? Can you start to find the hot spots to see the discrepancies between someone's words and someone's actions? Now, I know it seems really obvious, but when you're having a conversation with someone that you suspect of deception, attitude is by far the most overlooked but telling of indicators.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so if we look at the answers to those ones really quickly, let's take a quick look. Liars tend to fidget a lot. True or false? Liars tend to fidget a lot. I think that one was false. She said we assume that, but they tend to freeze their upper body, I think she said, right? Yeah, okay. Liars tend to avoid eye contact. Yeah, she said that's false, right? Okay. B shows a genuine smile. That was true. And liars' actions, I think we agreed on this one. So if we check all the answers for that one. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so it's interesting. Like some of the things we think maybe aren't true. Okay. So just to wrap up here, in the chat box, can you let me know what about that little video there? What thing did you find surprising? What thing did you think, oh, really? About when people tell lies? What do you think when people tell lies? Okay. Fidgeting, yeah. Okay. The smile, yeah. The smile is that's one thing that you often hear is that corners of your eyes show a real smile. The mouth doesn't do it, right? Okay, but the corners of the eyes show when you're really smiling. Liars avoid eye contact. Yeah. Okay, but actually liars, because they're really focused on the story they're telling, sometimes they look you in the eye a little bit more, right? We don't have time to look at it, but another one that Pamela mentions in another video is that liars tend to tell stories that go in order, chronologically, by time, right? Whereas if you're telling the truth, sometimes you jump around in time a little bit more. That's another one, okay? There is one, we're not gonna watch the little piece of video because we are going to wrap up now, but there is one thing that Pamela says, which I just want to share because I don't want to give you the wrong impressions here. She says that none of these things absolutely tell you that someone is lying, but they are all indicators. And one thing she mentions in one of her other videos here is that, that they raise red flags, they raise warning signs that maybe someone is lying. It lets you dig a little deeper, but you shouldn't instantly assume that just because the corners of someone's eyes don't look happy that they're somehow lying to you immediately. You shouldn't necessarily assume that, right? But yeah, make sure you understand the idea here. If we look further through this unit, Pamela mentioned some of these ideas as well. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to close out the session here today. Let me switch back to, where am I? Way back over here. Here we go. Okay, with just any quick questions and answers you have. So if you've got any questions, can you put them in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask us that way. We'll see what questions you have for a minute, and then we'll start to wrap things up. Please let me know if you have any questions. Someone's making notes in the corner. You guys love the tools, right? Animation, sorry, the annotation tools are very nice. What are the writing activities? Okay, that's kind of a good question. In the writing activities in the unit, a lot of the time they're more discussion based to start, and then they go into write about your ideas on this idea. Often they're taken away for homework, but some of the presentation skill activities are ones where you're going to write something first and then present it, okay? And so there are writing activities that are built in there. And there are also some collaborative writing activities in the materials as well, where you will sit down and work with other people to put writing together that way, okay? So writing activities, yes, sometimes they tend to be done more, a lot of teachers I know sometimes put them outside of the classroom because students can work on them by themselves, you know, more quietly. But there are collaborative writing activities in Keynote as well. Okay, very good. Yes, so Beth, we're actually going to be going through teaching reading and writing. We do have other topics coming up. You'll be able to see them come up on our website. Actually, let me put the website in here quickly of just where you can go to find out more information. If you go to that website there, webinars, thank you, Kitty, as well. Then this one is where you can find out more about some of our webinars coming up. We have some adult writing titles that are come up in September. We're going through like topics in a lot of different orders, trying to hit a range of different things. But we do have, yeah, as Kitty says, there's one coming up called Great Writing that will come up in the future. Okay. Just while I'm here as well on my page, this is the link that lets you go to the information page about Keynote. If you want to find out a little bit more information about it, that second link I just put in can send you there as well. And then Kitty's put one in too. Very nice. Any other questions? Any more questions here? We're pretty happy? We've got some text on the screen. We seem pretty happy. Okay, so just to let you know, follow up from today, we will send you an email tomorrow with the recording link and the follow-up survey. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the absolute truth. I didn't click the record button at the beginning of the session. So the first 15 minutes or so, I didn't record. I'm sorry. But I will send you the recording that we do have, as much as we have, and we'll be able to share that with you as well. But yeah, my mistake, I forgot to hit the record button. Anyway, but yeah, we'll also send you a survey. We will send you the certificate as well. Maybe I will separately, what I'll try to do actually tomorrow, maybe I can try and separately re-record me going through the first part so that I can attach that in somehow and share it with you as well, okay? So my apologies about that. I'll try and figure out a way to fix that. Okay, very good. Last one next week, will be back again, and he's going to be looking more at some TED Talks, specifically with an app that is called Learn English with TED Talks. Will talk to you more about that next week. It's a really cool little app. You can have it on your phone. You can use it for blended learning with your students. You can do a lot of things with it. So please take a look at that one. If you want to register for that one, go to the webinars page, the link we put in at the top, and you can register for Will's one there as well. Okay, very good. Yeah, we will send I'll attach the PowerPoint in somehow for you as well. Okay, especially since I missed some pieces. We'll try and get something of that to you as well. Okay, very nice. Okay, so thank you all, and make sure you join up with us, be a fan. Jump on Facebook, WeChat, whatever the social media of choice is for you. Get in touch with us. Email us back when we send you an email wrapping this one up. Let us know what questions you have. Always happy to chat with you more, and we'll see you again soon. Okay? Thank you very much. Very nice, all. Good job. Yeah, the recording thing, I'll try and fix later and get you a better part of that first part of the recording. My mistake. My mistake. Good job, all. No problem, everybody. We'll see you next week. Come back and see what Will's got to talk about more with TED Talks, okay? Thanks very much. I'm going to close out the room now, so enjoy the rest of your day.